to my channel, Devin's Mastermind. So what I'm going to get into today, I'm going to get into the LSU coach upsets in college football. As y'all know, Iowa got upset yesterday. I'm going to get into the Georgia UGA football, Go Dogs, Browns and the Lions, Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson, in my last JB game. So first of all, I want to get into the upsets in college football. As y'all know, Iowa lost to Purdue 24-7. The Purdue quarterback, whatever his name was, O'Donnell, passed for like 359 yards and 2 touchdowns. And as y'all know, Purdue beat Iowa 24-7. So I wanted to get into that. I knew Iowa wasn't a complete college football team anyway. They were ranked number 2 in the country. Now Iowa has one of the best defenses. Now they're not as good as Georgia, but I know they got a good defense. But they don't have no offense, is all I'm going to say. Their offense is bad, and the Boilermakers boiled the Iowa Hawkeyes. And I know their wide receiver for Purdue, this dude literally had 11 receptions for 240 yards and like 1 touchdown. And this dude is really good. I think his name is Demetrius Bell. I know they said in the last few meetings that he has played against Iowa, he's done really good. He's had like 100-yard games and like 3 touchdowns in one meeting, and then he had like 100 yards and 1 touchdown in another meeting against Iowa. So I think he did a great job, and shout out to him for doing good and making Iowa go down in the college football rankings. As y'all know, Iowa went to, now it was number 2, but now they want to know that 10 in the rankings. So I'm going to give props to the Purdue Boilermakers. So next up, I want to get into dumb Tennessee fans. As y'all know, last night, Ole Miss beat Tennessee 31-26, but here's what happened. For whatever reason, Tennessee fans are probably the dumbest fans in the history of college football, and I'm going to say that because what they did, they knew they were wrong, and they were acting like them NBA fans a few months ago when you had NBA fans throwing stuff at Russell Westbrook or Kyrie Irving or whoever, fans spitting on Trae Young. So I think Tennessee deserves a good punishment for that. Because what happened was when Ole Miss and Tennessee were playing, as I heard, I think it was like a 4th down and 24 and and I think the Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker or whatever his name was had passed the pass for like 23 yards, and the referees tried to see if it was a 1st down, so they reviewed it, and unfortunately it turned out the dude was just short. So of course, you know, Tennessee fans got mad about that. They were throwing stuff at the Ole Miss people. As y'all know, the head coach for Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, I heard he had got hit with a golf ball. So it's a lot, the process there, and yeah, Tennessee definitely deserves they should tell their fans not to come there or not to have a game, or until the fans act right, then they can have that, because now that was just uncalled for, is all I'm going to say. And I also want to say this, if y'all know Iowa and Purdue, I just talked about, I heard a fan had threw a beer or something at, Iowa fan had threw a beer like at somebody, and this was a funny story. One of the Purdue offensive linemen, I think he wore number 69, they say this dude, he had saw the beer on the field, and instead of him, you know, throwing it away, they said he poured it all over his face, and he was like this, and just dancing too, and all that. And I was like, really? But he deserves to do what he wants. I mean, Purdue won, so they deserve to do whatever they want with the beer. And yeah, so it's a lot of stuff that needs to go on, and these fans need to be held account of for a lot of things. And I'm just gonna say that. But shout out to Ole Miss beating Tennessee 31-26. And as y'all know, the game got delayed 20 minutes because Tennessee fans were just acting dumb. Just nothing but stupidness. Yes. So next up, I want to get into, you know, Cincinnati. They beat UCF 56-21. And honestly, I'm just going to say this. Cincinnati is a contender for the college football playoff. I mean, Luke Fickell has turned that team around since 2018 when Desmond Ridder was a quarterback and he was a freshman. They've been completely different, and I think he has like a 40-14 record at Cincinnati for 5, and it's his 5th season. Cincinnati 6-0. I mean, they beat Notre Dame and Indiana. Those were 2 good wins. So yeah, Cincinnati is just the SHIT. They are really good, is all I'm gonna say, and they definitely deserve to be in the CFP. And I won't be shocked if they win the national championship. And if Georgia don't play, I won't be shocked. Cincinnati wants a little revenge. I won't be shocked because Cincinnati almost beat us in the Peach Bowl last year, only by 3 points. So I wouldn't be shocked if that happens. Yeah. So next up for this segment, I want to get into the Lions. As y'all know, the Lions are probably one of the suckiest teams in the football, and yeah, they are trash. They are trash. They are 0-6. They just lost to a Bengals team, 34 to 11, not 34 to like 10 or something. And also I want to say this: if you're losing to a Bengals team who really hasn't been good, something's going on, because you let the Bengals whip y'all's butt, 34 to 11. Like, come on now. I mean, and then the coach Dan Campbell, he was saying that quarterback Jared Goff needs to step up more. Obviously, the Lions need to step up more. Period. Is all I'm gonna say. This and the Lions. They are probably going to be 0-17. They're going to get the first overall pick, and I wouldn't be shocked because they have been one of the suckiest teams of football. And you know the Browns, they suck too, but at least the Browns, at least they didn't kind of build their team back up to their standards. But the Lions, the only famous thing that the Lions will be ever known for is having Barry Sanders, Oklahoma State running back who won the Heisman Trophy back in 1988. That's the only thing I think that the Lions will be famous for, and that's it. And that's all I got to say for the Lions. And like I said, the Browns, they really ain't any better because they just lost to the Cardinals 37 to 14. And I'm just like the Browns, it looks like at times they're good, but then it looks like at times they're complete garbage, just garbage. I mean, come on now. Like, they did this, I remember a few years ago, they were looking like they were okay, and then they lost to undefeated San Francisco team 31-3, and as y'all know, they lost 37 to 14. But they don't look any better, and the only thing they're famous for is Jim Brown, really, the running back from Syracuse. But that was back in the 1960s, 50s, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, and as y'all know, 1987 and the 1980s, the Broncos played them in the AFC Championship twice, and they lost twice in those games against the Broncos because one game is called the drive, and the other one is called the fumble. As y'all, if y'all knew that, so I just want to say that. And yeah, so the Browns and the Lions, they're one of the worst teams in football in NFL history. So next up, I want to get into Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson. These are two good quarterbacks, and I think the MVP race is going to be based on them too, because like I said, as y'all know, the Cardinals won. And Colin Murray threw for 4 touchdowns and for like 290 yards. And of course, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens whooped the Chargers 34-6. So if y'all were to ask me, I would say yes, Colin Murray and Lamar Jackson not only for MVP but possibly 2 Super Bowl contenders. I should say, because the Ravens, they've been good for the past few years. Now Lamar Jackson has had trouble in the playoffs. But I think now with the Patriots not being good, the Chiefs not really doing that great, I think it's going to be the Ravens and the Bills for the AFC Championship. And if you were to ask me, I think it's going to be the Cardinals and the Buccaneers for the NFC Championship. And I think it's going to determine those two, and to see who's going to win that national champion and who's going to win the Super Bowl is what I want to get into. So yeah, I think we'll really see how that turns out in the next couple of months. And yeah, and next up, I want to get into the LSU coach. As y'all know, this is a sad story because I like LSU, and my mother does too. And the thing is, LSU was just a 2019 national championship team, and now we're talking about Coach O. Now he's about to leave. This will be his last year because they said they agreed to part ways. So after this 2021 season, we won't see Coach O and LSU no more, but they have a lot of coaching candidates for him, like Jimbo Fisher, Mario Cristobal, whoever else you want to get into. But that's some sad news, and unfortunately, we all knew LSU. When I kind of looked at it, I thought they were going to be good, but I didn't think that they were just going to be terrible. But they were okay. I mean, they were 5-5 last year. They beat Florida and Ole Miss. And then, of course, this year they've had a hard time, 4-3. So, unfortunately, the expectations at LSU in the SEC period is a national championship or SEC championship. But yeah, it's just sad because I really like them, and then his voice is so crazy when he be going, I think Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the country. and all that stuff, and that makes you laugh too. But he's about to leave, so it's a fair welcome and goodbye to him, and I'm glad he took the LSU to a 2019 national championship team.
My mama loves him.
Yes, and my mother loves him so much. Yeah. So, and last but not least, I want to get into this. As y'all know, the head Falcon coach Arthur Smith, and I just want to say this to him: you about to lose your job. The thing is, Arthur Smith should have stayed at Tennessee. Come on now, you have a good quarterback and Ryan Tannehill, a good quality quarterback, Pro Bowl quarterback, and then you got Julio. You got Julio coming in. You had AJ Brown already. Your defense is alright, but they weren't good like they were when they made that AFC Championship run a few years ago. And this is a real dumb thing. You got the league's best running back, Derrick Henry. The dude who has rushed for 2,000 yards, and the year before he took his team to the AFC Championship and had like back-to-back 180-yard games. And I understand at times because it's a lot of things it's a lot of things going on at this time. You having a lot of players transferring and all that stuff, and then you have coaches going here, going there, retire. But the man knew he should have kept his job at Tennessee. Come on now, you had a complete team to go to the Super Bowl and win a ring maybe, and you want to go to a not good franchise in the Falcons. Is all I'm gonna say. I mean, and I understand they have their different views on what they think, but you're not college. You're not no Cincinnati football where you have Luke Fickell building his team up to a CFP. You're not that. You have college and NFL. NFL is completely different. And he knew he should have stayed, but unfortunately he didn't. And that's on him. And I think either by this season or next season he'll go. He'll probably be a coach for a year and a half, 2 years, and then boom. Because that's how they do you. They want to see how you do in your first year, and then in that second year, and then maybe in the third year, okay, it's time for us to look for another coach. But I would have kept the Tennessee job because I definitely would have got my ring if I wanted one, which I do. And you would have got paid a lot of money for winning the Super Bowl. But that's them. And I want to get into it. As y'all know, Georgia is one of the best football teams. They got one of the best defenses, probably one of the best defenses historically in this 2021 season. And as y'all know, they beat Kentucky 30-13, so they advanced to 7-0. I knew Kentucky wasn't gonna do nothing. I kind of thought Arkansas was gonna do nothing, but they didn't do nothing. But Kentucky, I kind of knew was gonna do nothing anyway. And you don't really have faith in none of these teams now. I knew Auburn wasn't gonna do nothing either. But the thing is, Georgia here. But here's the thing: for Georgia to win the national championship, Alabama's gonna have to lose. Not in the SEC championship or in the CFP. They're gonna have to lose now. When I'm in the regular season, you got 5 or 4 more games. They're gonna have to lose. That Alabama's gonna have to lose. And as y'all know, they play Arkansas, Tennessee, and Auburn. But I think Auburn is that main one because I think Auburn would be the closest team to beating Alabama, even though I know that's not going to happen. But I'm just saying if they had a chance, Auburn would be that chance, as y'all know.
So, Gavin, yes, I have a question to my son. So, Big Country, what do you think the odds are of Alabama and Georgia meeting up?
Well, we all know it's going to happen. I mean, it's been kind of happening. I mean, Georgia, now that they beat Kentucky, for what Kentucky would need, the odds for Kentucky is they would need to win out, of course, and Georgia would need to, lose, and then with Alabama, Ole Miss would have to win out probably too, and then Alabama would have to lose 1 or 2 games, somewhat for it to be a tiebreaker, I guess, for Ole Miss to lead. But as y'all know, that's probably not going to happen because Georgia has an easy schedule. Alabama's schedule is easy. I think Auburn, they might beat them, but they might not. I mean, but we clearly know Alabama's probably a 22-point favorite in that game. As that's what I see it as, but Georgia and Alabama's gonna meet in the SEC championship, and if you all want to know, probably in the CFP they could meet again. And I want to tell you all this for one because they're both ranked so high. Georgia's ranked number 1, Alabama's ranked number 4, and let's say Cincinnati or who was that other team? Oklahoma loses, then it'll be Alabama and Georgia, of course, number 1 versus number 2. But then the thing is, if one of them loses, if Alabama or Georgia loses, likely they're going to still be in the CFP championship because, for one, they've been historically good programs, mostly Alabama over Georgia, but they've been great programs. And usually, if they lose to like an unranked team, that teams that's not ranked in the top 25 poll, then that would be different. But since they're probably gonna win out, and since they're gonna probably be meeting the SEC championship, and if the game is gonna be decided by a touchdown or less, which it has been over the past few meetings, two of the last 4 meetings, then we could possibly see Alabama and Georgia for the national championship or in the CFP again.
But you're going for the SEC. You definitely think it's gonna be those two?
Yes, definitely gonna be those two, and Cincinnati and Oklahoma.
And who you going for?
Well, if y'all ask me, I want Georgia and Cincinnati for the championship.
Okay.
Even though that's not going to happen. Even though I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think Cincinnati is a complete team too. And as y'all know, Georgia's number 1, Cincinnati's number 2, Oklahoma I think is number 3, and Alabama's number 4.
Yeah.
But Oklahoma did good against TCU, but they also looked a little bad on defense, kind of too, and on offense. Caleb Williams, their starter who had replaced Spencer Rattler in the Red River rivalry last week. As y'all know, Oklahoma had 155-48, and Caleb Williams, and they had benched Spencer Rattler. This is because Spencer Rattler has been the quarterback for Oklahoma for the past 2 years, and as y'all know, I think if y'all didn't know this, he got benched in the Red River rivalry the year before when that Oklahoma had won 53-45 and quadruple overtime, which is 4 overtimes. He got benched again, and I think Caleb Williams, their freshman quarterback, is really, really good. And I think he's probably going to be a Heisman contender next year. Not this year, because he hasn't played as many games as his other quarterbacks has, but he'll probably be next year because he just had 4 touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. So I think he'll be a CFP contender, he'll be a Heisman contender. But, yeah. And last but not least, I want to get into my last JV game that I had last week. If y'all didn't know, which y'all don't probably, I won 10-6. We won 10-6. So we finished the season 4-3 with a winning record as our winning record they set in a long time. So I was glad we won, and we got to celebrate and get on the bus and party in the locker room and all that stuff like most football people do. So yeah, and I want to give a shout out to my people who support me and my coaches and family and my subscribers, and that's about it. And I wanted to recognize my bonus brother Ryan, as he got an offer, so I just to school, so I just wanted to say great job, buddy, and I'm glad you got it, and I hope you do great things.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye bye.